Reporters just nailed Donald Trump about the Epstein files, and his reply boggles the mind. Even for him, this is whacked. Welcome back to Occupied Democrats. I'm David Reddish. Obviously, if you subscribe to our channel, and do it now if you haven't, tell me you did in the comments. If you subscribe or just follow the news in general, you know that one name has dominated the American political cycle over the past week. And no, for once, it's not Donald Trump.
What a massive, unforced error by the Trump administration. Donald Trump would love this story to go away, but in fact, interest is climbing higher and higher, to quote Jackie Wilson. Look at this. Google searches for Epstein up 1,200% this week versus last. And get this, it is currently the top topic search with Trump on Google alongside his presidency. So Donald Trump normally, leans in stories in which there's controversy, like tariffs, for example. This is a story in which he's trying to get away from, basically saying, why is anyone still interested in this story? But the bottom line is people are very interested in this story to historic degrees, at least this week.
That blows my mind, and it should be sounding alarm bells for Trump. Stay with me here. Despite both Pam Bondi's denials and failed attempts by Congress to override her and release the files to the public, for the moment, outrage in MAGA world has not quelled. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino is threatening to resign over this mess. Nevertheless, Trump, who made the release of the Epstein files a pillar of his 2024 campaign, continues to sing a new tune.
Yeah, sure.
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file, along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that.
That exchange still shocks me. The man was one of Trump's best friends, or so Trump has said, anyway, and now he wants to pretend like he didn't even know the guy, and he has no idea why anyone would be interested in learning more about Epstein's human trafficking ring. And Bondi fumbling the question there is even more pathetic. She was an accidental attorney general to begin with after another Trumper with a thing for underage women, Matt Gaetz, was forced to withdraw his nomination over his own human trafficking allegations. Bondi probably fears her job is on the bubble, which doesn't seem far-fetched right now. In any case, questions continue to mount over the turnabout of Trump, Bondi, and their fellow ghouls over this Epstein mess, and Americans want answers. Reached just outside Marine One today for comment, when asked about the files, Trump gave this withering answer.
The Attorney General briefed you on the DOJ and FBI's review, the findings of that review. The Attorney General briefed you on that.
What? On the
DOJ and FBI
on what?
review.
On what subject?
Epstein. Okay. On Epstein, of the review of the files. Attorney General Pam Bondi.
A very quick briefing.
Did she tell you, what did she tell you about the review? And specifically, did she tell you at all that your name appears in the file?
No, she's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden. We went through years of that with the Russia hoax, with all of the different things that we had to go through. We've gone through years of it. But she's handled it very well, and it's going to be up to her. Whatever she thinks is credible, she should release. Yeah.
What? So, is Trump now saying the whole Epstein file thing is a hoax? And does he remember that he was president at the time Epstein was arrested and charged? Does he remember that he was president when Epstein died in 2019? And yet he says Obama and Comey, both of whom were long since out of office, were responsible for this? In what universe does that even make sense? Okay, let's break this down, shall we? First of all, it's clear Trump's mind is failing, and either his dementia or his syphilis is chewing away at his cognitive abilities yet again. Second, trying to gaslight the world into thinking this was an Obama scandal is just absurd, since Epstein conspiracy theories were largely fueled by MAGA world, and Donald Trump appointed a bunch of Epstein conspiracy theorists to cabinet jobs. Third, and I know I'm not supposed to make fun of a woman's appearance, but it's Caroline Leavitt, so I just don't care. Did you notice the dark circles and eye bags on that woman? She has not slept, apparently, and she's likely completely stressed out, and gee, I wonder why. But here's the bigger point to make about this Epstein craziness. Trump should be a lot more afraid than he appears to be, even if he doesn't appear in the Epstein files, which is highly unlikely. Y'all remember Richard Nixon? Watergate took down Nixon. A bungled burglary by a bunch of inept thugs who consider themselves secret agents. And it took Nixon down because he knew about the burglary and tried to cover it up. It wasn't his escalation of the Vietnam War that took him down. It wasn't an illegal bombing of Cambodia. It wasn't a clear violation of the Logan Act. It wasn't overthrowing an elected president and replacing him with a dictator in Chile. It wasn't screwing up our healthcare system. It was a cover-up of a failed burglary. That's what captured the attention of the public, and his lies and his obstructions of justice are what destroyed Richard Nixon. Trump is in a similar situation now. Americans are paying more attention to this than the gutting of Medicaid, the evisceration of the Department of Education, an illegal attack on Iran, inflation thanks to Trump's tariffs, concentration camps, or masked men kidnapping people off the streets. Epstein is proving to be Trump's Watergate. And without debating the priorities of public attention, if Trump continues to obstruct the release of these files, the guiltier and more suspicious he will look. And if people like Bondi or Kash Patel or Dan Bongino allege a cover-up, Trump is going to have some very big questions to answer. So, message to Bondi, Bongino, Patel, etc. Trump will use you as a sacrificial lamb if he thinks he can save his own behind. This ship is sinking. Trumpers, it's time to get off or drown in the undertow. This is Occupy Democrats.